A rumor says that when the mansion returns to its regular state in 2025, it will open its doors without the hangman, without Constance, and with a new attic window, and with projection hitchhiking ghosts. Let's dive into the rumors. Okay, so the first and most controversial rumor from the list is the ghost host removal. The rumor says that instead of seeing the hangman as we usually do, we would see a projection screen, similar to what they do on Haunted Mansion Holiday, and would see an animation of a colony of bats flying through the attic window. Okay, let's stop right here. So let's remember that when you are in the stretching room, you are trapped with no windows and no doors, and when challenged to find a way out, the ghost host explains his way out and reveals his own corpse is hanging from the rafters, implying he stopped living in order to exit the mansion. I think the purpose of this scene is to create a tense atmosphere, a daunting prospect of things to come, which goes in line with the first scary section of the Haunted Mansion and the idea that you have traversed the threshold between the normal, mortal state and the spiritual realm, hence why you end up in the limbo loading area. The idea of the hangman is an old one and was present in the early stages of the Haunted Mansion, first as the corpse of the original owner of the house who was tormented by the ghosts of his wife and enemies. It later changed to be the best man of the wedding who was tied up. Kid stay in school. And later as the ghost of our tour. He is part of the mansion's DNA. But why? Well, the mansion was based on all sort of gruesome gothic tales of terror and gothic movies from the 60s. As we've discussed the mansion's media influences in other videos, one of these was The Haunting of Hill House and 13 Ghosts. On the first one, a ghost possesses a guest to hang herself from the library. On 13 Ghosts, one of the ghosts is a skeletal hangman who in some cinemas appeared physically in the rafters of the movie theater, tied from the ceiling and moving along the moviegoers. The hangman is a figure tied, oh dear, was that a joke, to all gothic tales, haunted houses, and movies. Heck, you can even visit Target, Spirit Halloween, or any store during Halloween and you'll find a hangman. A hangman is even described and talked about in one of Poe's Gothic poems, different from Phantom Manor, where the hangman plays a more important role in storytelling since it is part of the action of the antagonist. The Haunted Mansion's hangman is just a hint of what is about to come. A reminder that we are in a place that could become dangerous, foreboding, and will deal with subjects related to death. For without death, there would be no ghosts. Let's for a moment imagine that the hangman is removed and we see the bats flying through the window after the ghost host says, "Of course, there's always my way." Is that his way? Flying through the window? I'm sorry, is our ghost host Dracula? Or is it that, like when we throw ourselves outside the attic window? I guess that's the same as taking your life, isn't it? But the hangman was a more drastic way of letting us know there will be no easy way out of the Haunted Mansion. We'll have to go through it and face our fears, which makes the whole ordeal much more fun. It is a classic aspect of any story. The higher the stakes, the more entertaining and more investing the story will be. So in my opinion, should a hanging corpse be removed from a house that speaks of the dead and death? No, it should not be removed. So now let's go to the second change, the good one. As previously discussed in several other videos, the attic has been inhabited by several different brides, from corpse-like to smurf-like to ghost-like and to, projection-like. Yeah, we all know you all hate the bad projection done on Constance and the way her story sort of interferes with the tone of the mansion. Nevertheless, we've grown attached to her and allowed her to become canon, and we're fine with her story now, but not with the projection. Look at that spirit Halloween mannequin with a fan. Isn't that just offensive to see? Especially right before the terrific Hatbox ghost, whose face projection is well done. Well, my dearest mortals, quit watching those Tokyo Disney Haunted Mansion attic videos where time hasn't passed and they still have the pop-up ghosts and the creepy heart-beating bride, because we're having two good changes in the attic. For one, the projection bride will be gone. Regardless of the topic of the bride being Constance or another of the brides, whichever bride that occupies that spot will not use projection mapping and will be a regular audio animatronic. Aside from that though, permits have been filed to make the window, and some projections on that window which will presumably go behind the bride. This makes it even better since the defenestration story from the concept art and the fact that we fall to the graveyard through the window makes the attic window relevant. What will we see in that window? Perhaps a ghostly apparition, or something atmospheric like bats or a storm. Whatever it is, it's a good change since we are losing one projection effect for a practical one. If only they could bring back the pop-up ghosts. They could be the beheaded ghosts popping out. Hey, I'm only dreaming here. As to the future of the story of the attic, I think there might be a change too, since if the hangman is being removed for sensitivity issues, I think the beheaded husbands will also have to disappear to remove that line of murderous violence inside the mansion. Still, I wouldn't care if they removed it and restored the attic to its more suspenseful, creepy self like the one in Tokyo. And now, let's continue to the crypt, where the ugly change awaits. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all Haunted Mansion news. This is a small channel, but we would really appreciate your subscription so that this becomes the definitive Haunted Mansion channel. Now let's go back. California Haunted Mansion. It still has the practical pepper ghost hitchhiking ghosts, which are astonishing and simple when you visit, unlike the ugly, terribly done, goofy hitchhiking ghosts from Florida. Folks, when I talk about the Haunted Mansion and its practical effects, I've learned that the simpler the effect, the best it translates for us mortals. No projections but reflections, no fog but fabric. Simple ideas that are more akin to parlor tricks than to blockbusters. Yet Imagineers are bringing a change nobody asked for. Projection hitchhiking ghosts. Rumor, yes, rumor, has it that the projection hitchhiking ghosts are being installed right now as we speak, inside the Haunted Mansion. What can I say? What can I say? Tokyo wins again. I think they clearly understand the motto of if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Their time capsule Haunted Mansion is a sight to behold, with all the practical effects still intact. I really don't want projection hitchhiking ghosts. They just break the convention and don't look like actual ghosts because they're not actually there, while the pepper ghost ones are actually, physically, there. Almost like real ghosts. And that is what makes the Haunted Mansion so special. That ghosts are actually there, before your eyes, and you can't even fathom how they're there. They're not CGI, And if there were, you'd notice, and you hate the attraction because what differentiates a movie from a theme park experience is the immersion, the fact that you can see things before your eyes, physical things and sets that you can feel integrated to, not screens or projections. If more screens and more projections are added, these attractions will slowly morph into 4D movie theaters and will no longer be special. My opinion on the projected hitchhiking ghosts? They're just ugly. Leave the old ones alone. They're just fine. They're an important part of the ride, actually. They're part of the important illusion that ghosts will follow you home. And if you see a real 3D ghost in your doom buggy, you'll actually believe the ghost host. If you see a CGI one, you won't. Also, these CGI ghosts do a lot of things in contrast to the more limited movements of the other ghosts in the mansion, which again breaks the tone. I say leave the ghosts as they are. Spend the money on refurbishment of the effects, not on remaking them. And that's it, folks. Those are the 3 rumors for the mansion when it reopens in 2025. I'm most excited for the attic changes, but sad for the loss of the hitchhiking ghosts. The effect was superb and really makes guests think a ghost is sitting with them. I honestly think that the ghost host and hitchhiking ghost removal is just Disney wanting to spend less on practical effect maintenance and projections with the pretext of cultural sensitivity. I'd like to know from anyone working at guest relations if they have had actual complaints about the hangman. Whenever I visit the attraction, people really enjoy that section and scream and laugh when seeing the hanging skeleton. Heck, most of the people don't even listen to the narration and don't even know that's the ghost host's corpse or an example of a suicide. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Please leave your comments in the comment section.